When I found out that the HomePod was delayed, I knew I had to review some kind of speaker, and this is the one I found. This is the UE Megaboom. Now, I found this at Best Buy. It was 50% off, but it seems to be on sale on most websites now. Like, I bought it for $150, and it's typically $300, but on Amazon you can get it for like $170 or lower. It's been out for a while, but what I like about this speaker is simply that what it is meant to do, it does right. Now, you see, I was obviously very excited to get the HomePod, not just because of the smart speaker elements, because I'm not totally into that. I don't see the point of having speakers that you talk to all the time, but I don't think that was the intention with the HomePod. Apple was just trying to point out that they could make a really good sounding speaker, and I'm sure that when it does come out, it will. But this is not a smart speaker. It is simply a wireless one, and what it's meant to be for me anyways, and I can hope for you as well, is just a really good sounding speaker until the HomePod is unveiled. Now, I've used other wireless speakers in the past, like the Bose SoundLink Mini, and those do sound really good. However, I do find most Bose speakers to be kind of the Apple of the sound industry, as in, yes, they sound good, but yeah, you're gonna be paying for it. So obviously the first thing I want to talk about with the Megaboom is the fact that it sounds great. I've been using this thing for over a week now, and so far, it's one of the first things I activate when I wake up. It just makes this great omniscient noise through the office or through the home. I usually turn on one of those YouTube chill beats live streams that just have a 24/7 loop of chill and relaxing music, or of course I have Apple Music, I can turn on the radio there. And this speaker effortlessly fills every room with really good sounding audio, and I could say that the office I'm in right now is about 1,100 square feet. This thing can easily fill the office with that crisp sounding audio from end to end. There is not one end of the office where you could not hear this. And in fact, it shakes the walls when you turn it up a little loud with those very obvious volume rockers. Very, very clicky, very, very easy to find. And the controls on this thing are actually fairly basic. On the top, you've got your power button, and when you turn it on, it makes this cool little drum sound. It goes like this. Very subtle like that, and on the other side of it is a little Bluetooth button, and when you hold that down, it just makes it more discoverable, so I can connect this to my Apple TV, and that works really, really well. Of course, I connect it to my iPhone, my iPad, and transitioning them has been fairly simple, especially thanks to that Control Center AirPlay function now, so if I need to switch it to the iPad, it's pretty easy. And of course, if you want this to just be a stationary speaker and you don't really have the intention of taking it anywhere with you, it does, in fact, have a headphone jack at the bottom, so if you wanted to plug this into a monitor or to a dedicated desktop, you could do that as well, and I'm sure it would get the job done no problem. But this is something I really wish Apple would release. It's cool that they've made the HomePod and that it's a smart speaker. It can hear you, it can have that Siri functionality, but at the same time, I'm really in love with this idea of having really good sounding audio that you can take with you. It is mobile. If you want this to be your main speaker for your television, you can just put this right underneath the TV and it sounds great. And also, if you're going on a trip, you're going into town, you're going on a picnic, whatever, this thing can easily slip into your backpack or your bag, and then because this thing is so durably built, you can just drop it on concrete, drop it wherever you are, and start playing stuff. It sounds great. One of the most surprising bonus features I found about the Megaboom, it's actually water resistant. So it's the same water resistance as an iPhone 10, meaning as long as it's not more than a meter deep in water for over 30 minutes, it should be fine. Now it's the winter, so I don't really get to test this very much, but remind me, when it is summertime again, I will gladly throw this in a pool, and based on videos I've seen of the Megaboom, it does float, and it will keep playing the music as it's floating, which is really hilarious. I just held it under my sink for a little bit and it still performs fine, which I guess makes sense because this material is kind of a mesh fabric. Definitely feels like a fabric texture, but at the same time, very, very hard and rigid. It does not give at all. This is a very rough device. See, on my Bose SoundLink Mini, if you tossed it around your hands a little too much, you could kind of feel like the magnets or something in there shaking. This feels a lot more rigid. This feels like a baseball bat that doesn't feel like there's anything moving in here when I'm throwing it around. And one hilarious thing to do is that when you do get it wet, sadly the fabric kind of absorbs a lot of that water. It still sounds fine, but probably the best way to get rid of all the water is just to blare music out of it, kind of like your Apple Watch does. When it gets water in it, you just activate that digital crown feature and then it shoots the water out of the speaker. It's hilarious to see that work with this. Now, they do make a smaller version of the Megaboom that is more portable, but I'm sure doesn't sound as good. When I was at the Best Buy, I was testing out a lot of different speakers, okay? So I checked out the Google Home Mini, I checked out the regular Google Home, Home, the Amazon Echo. And while definitely some of them sounded pretty good, I was amazed that this one was at a fairly low price while still sounding incredible. Of course, they let you have those little demo things at the Best Buy where you can hit play and hear what it sounds like. And after listening to over a dozen different speakers, this one I continually found myself going back to because I kept saying, hey, that gets really loud, and it's only $150. They also make a different version of this speaker that comes with Alexa built into that, but of course you're going to be paying extra for it. It's over $200, it's a bit larger, and I have to say, form factor wise, I prefer this. I actually don't like it when speakers are too small or too light, because then it feels like they don't have the oomph. You know, with phones and tablets, it's like, of course, yeah, be as light as possible. With speakers though, it's kind of like, I want something that's a bit firm and a bit heavy, because that way when you pull the speaker out, it's like, oh man, this is ready for some bass. This is ready to make the walls shake, and then you connect it with Bluetooth, pair it on, turn it on at full blast, and boom, it lives up to the name of Megaboom. Of course, this comes in lots of different colors. I actually got the limited edition version. I really can't find it anywhere online, where it comes with the yellow plus and minus. I believe that's the only difference. There's tons of different colors online, lots of good ones. And one thing that is important with wireless speakers that are both wireless in terms of you connect your devices wirelessly and they don't need to be plugged into power is battery life. And this thing has a 10-hour playback battery. That's what it's advertised as. I'm wondering if that's under certain scenarios, because I've actually had battery life for this thing that has gone far beyond 10 hours. I'm wondering if it's 10 hours at a certain volume, because you definitely do not want to be playing this thing at full blast for long periods of time just because it's so loud. So most of the time I'm playing it at 50% volume or lower, because even that is plenty loud. Whether I'm watching Netflix on TV or just playing music in the lobby here. That's what I love so much about this speaker, is how incredibly loud it gets. And yeah, one of the great perks of that is that I'm not really thinking about, oh shoot, it's low on a charge. Gotta make sure to charge it. It lasts all day. It lasts multiple days without me charging it. So that's been great. Of course, that charge port is right at the bottom. And if I did have to have one complaint with this device, sadly, this would be it. It charges via micro USB. I know. I think that's just how they get the price lower. I think a lot of speakers, including smart speakers these days, incorporate micro USB just because they know that can keep the overall price lower. But it's annoying, yeah. I would really be excited for a mobile speaker like this that had a Qi charger, because if you look at how large a Qi charger is and you look at the bottom of this thing, it's like the perfect size. Like a wireless charging wireless speaker that you just put on the charge mat, it charges up, and then when you're ready to go, you grab it. That would be so intuitive. It'd probably be more expensive, but that's just what I would like to see. That might already exist. I haven't dug very deep. Or of course, something that's USB-C would also be really nice, or even Lightning. And I'm sure those are out there, but the reason I went with this, of course, was because it was on sale. Didn't want to invest too much into a speaker to hold my interest until the HomePod comes out. And that's the great thing. The HomePod, yes, is still a speaker, but at the same time, it has an entirely different function. It's not really meant to be taken around, and it has the smart Siri options built into it where this doesn't. So that's why I'm okay with buying this, is because it serves a different purpose and it caters to a different demographic, people who want to take their sound with them. And of course, when the HomePod is available, I'll definitely be getting it. You guys voted for which color on Twitter, and it looks like we're going with space gray, which should match this pretty close, actually. And of course, I'd love to compare sound quality when it is available. And also, one of you gracious fans donated in the last live stream and said for me to get the Google Home Mini, so I've ordered it. It's on its way. I'm not terribly excited, but because you donated and asked for it, I will unbox it and I will review it through the incredibly intelligent Google bots and Google assistants graciousness. I can't wait. Have a speaker that's finally lighter than a chipmunk, because I know this one isn't. For those of you who don't know, when Google introduced the Google Home Mini, one of its features was lighter than a chipmunk. So I was like, what? So that's why I brought that up. I'm not just that random. Anyway, you guys should really check this thing out. I know the HomePod's probably not going to be available till March of next year. So while you're waiting, check out this thing. Only 150 bucks. Really, really loud, really, really great battery life, and has made a noticeable difference in my tech ecosystem. Even though it's not made by Apple, really like this thing. Even would consider buying a couple of them. Let me know what you think of the UE Megaboom in the comments below. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one.